Hi, my name is Leilani. You could also call me Lay. Today I decided to do a reading vlog on a book called The Other People by C.J. Tudor. I picked this book up because Books and Lala is actually, she created a book club. I believe the genres she decided to read are thriller, horror, and mystery, and this is her February pick. I have no idea what it's about, but since currently it's 11 something, the power just went out while I was watching Netflix, so I was like, I don't know what to do, but since the light's still out, I'm gonna read. And I felt like since it's all windy and if you walk in the hallway, it's creepy. I might actually do a video so you guys see how creepy it is. There's no lights in the hallway. So I decided to pick up this book. I'll give you an update when I actually know what's happening. I kind of don't want to read the back because I want to go in not knowing what it's about. So it was blurbed by Stephen King saying, "If you like my stuff, you'll like this," or by Lee Child saying, "Some writers have it and C.J. Tudor has it big time." So we'll see if this book's good or not. There's only, let me see, trying to flip the thing with one hand. There's only 328 pages. So since there's nothing else to do today, maybe I could actually finish this. Maybe I could finish this. But yeah, talk to you when I have an update. Okay, so the power is still out. What's happening is it keeps coming on and then off. So when it was on, I kind of distracted myself and put on YouTube, but then it shut off on me. So I read a few chapters in The Other People, and I did end up reading the synopsis because I didn't want to spoil anything. So what I could tell you so far, I am enjoying it. I am interested in what the hell is happening because I don't know what the hell is happening. So I'm going to tell you that there's 5 perspectives. I think there's 5 perspectives. I don't know if all of them are going to be main characters per se, but so far we've been introduced to 5 perspectives. So the first perspective is written in italics, and it's of someone who is sleeping. So you can take that as whatever you want because I don't really know what's happening with them. The second perspective, we're following Gabe, who in the first chapter, he's the father who is racing home to his family because he's late for dinner, and he promised his wife that he wasn't going to be late for dinner anymore, and he was going to take his daughter Izzy into bed, but it turns out like he's running late because of work. But while he's going home, he sees this car in front of him that has like, you know, weird little bumper stickers, and he's reading them and he thinks like, oh, that's funny. But then he sees this child in the car, and while he's looking at when he sees the child, he's like, oh, she looks like my daughter. And then the girl says, "Daddy," and I'm like, oh wow, what? Turns out it was his daughter. But he didn't know if he was like, I don't want to say hallucinating, but like, you know when you're hella tired and you're like, oh, maybe I'm seeing things. So that's how he was feeling. So he like tries to catch up to the car. Doesn't catch up to them, but he like pulls over and like goes to a gas station or something to use their payphone because his phone is dead. So he calls his wife, and then somebody on the other line picks up and is like, you need to come home now. And then that closes the chapter. Then it's 3 years later, and we're still with Gabe. He's looking for this, for like the past 3 years, he's been looking for this car because it turns out it was his daughter in the car. Now, there's a dog. I got distracted. Okay. So that's the second perspective. The third perspective is, well, the third and fourth perspective, I'm going to put them together because they're together in the book. It's someone named Fran, who's, I want to say she's an adult. I don't know how old, but she's an adult. And then she's tagged along with her is a little girl named Alice, who's about 8 years old. I don't really know much about their storyline so far. Right now I know like they're on the run from something or someone. But I'm more interested in Alice's character because she went to the bathroom, and I don't want to say she has a phobia of mirrors, but something about mirrors triggers some like flashback or like nightmare thing for her. And there's someone walking next to the window. Okay. But it triggers like nightmares or flashbacks, and it gets hard for her to breathe and stuff like this. But when she wakes up, for some reason she has like a pebble with her, and I'm like, how is that possible? So we don't know that yet. The other perspective, who I don't think is going to be a main character, but I can be wrong. Her name's Katie. She's a waitress who was, I guess you could say, people watching, and she was people watching Gabe, and she kind of felt bad for him, and that's all so far for what's been brought up for them. But I'm interested in like this pebble thing that Alice had, because also right now Gabe is with somebody called the Samaritan, and that person is helping them track down the car. And they just, so my sister just called me and messed up my whole train of thought. I think I was talking about the pebbles. I'll just talk a little bit more about it. So Alice has this pebble when she wakes up, but nobody knows how she got it. And then it goes to Gabe, and he's meeting up with someone named the Samaritan, who is helping him track down the car that stole his daughter, but the car that had his daughter in it, right? And they find it. We know nothing about the Samaritan, but he also has like a stone or a pearl with him. So in my head, when I read it, I was like, oh, it reminds me of Inception, because Inception has these little totems with them that only they know about or they can hold, and it's supposed to ground them to reality because they entered like the dream world or whatever. And it kind of reminded me of that. So I want to know how these like pieces, or if like that even enters the book anyway. So the sun's about to go down. I'm gonna try to read a little bit more of the other people. Probably won't be able to finish it unless the lights go back on. Or I could just light up my candle and see if I could read like that. But I'll give you an update when I have an update. Okay, I wanted to update you. I'm in the 70s area on my pages, but the power's back on. You see my little light? The power's back on. The lighting's shitty. But I just want to say, you can't trust nobody. Everyone's a hoe, okay? Everyone's a hoe. Well, maybe not everyone, but you can't trust your family, can't trust your friends, can't trust no strangers. I am so freaking invested in this book right now. Like, this lighting's so bad, but I'm invested. And I wrote down theories on sticky notes because I want to know. Because like when things are happening, I'm like, oh, how is this all going to connect to everyone's story? So I'm going to retract my statement from last time. The fifth person, Katie, she is a main character. And you know what? I'm also interested in her story because everyone's fucking background is fucked up. Like, nobody's happy. Everyone's depressed. Everyone hates their life. It's being an adult. But I'm invested. Oh my God. I want to know what happens. So I'll give you an update when something major happens, I guess. All right. Okay, quick update. It is 6:45, I think, in the morning, almost 7. Got my little bed hair going on. It's been 2 months since I last picked up this book. What happened was I was doing a video simultaneously with the other people and I set it down. And then after I set it down, I kind of got into a reading slump and I wasn't reading any physical books at all. So 2 months later, we're in quarantine and I kind of feel like I want to start reading physically again. So my best friend and I have been FaceTiming each other and basically reading while we were on FaceTime. So yesterday we did so for maybe like an hour and a half and I got a third of the way done. So my goal is to read more before I start work today. And then when I'm off later on, my best friend and I will probably FaceTime each other and then read. So my goal is to finish this by the end of the day. What I did notice since I took 2 months off from reading the other people is that when I was getting back into it, it took me a while because I forgot who the characters were and like their storyline, because there are multiple perspectives that I mentioned previously in this vlog. So yeah, but it picked up pretty quickly, so I'm enjoying it still. I kind of wish that I read it the whole way through the first time I picked it up because then I feel like I'd be more excited. But a lot of things have gone down and some twists are happening right now. Or maybe not some twists, but some reveals. So I'm at the part where they're starting to like all get connected. All the perspectives on like how they know each other or how they cross paths. I'll give you an update probably later on today after my best friend and I FaceTime. So yeah, stay safe, stay in, have fun, live your life inside your house. All right. Okay, so I have finished The Other People and I am going to be rating it a 3-star. So we got all the reveals and how it tied up, how the characters know each other, or the connections, and I was like, yes, I'm living for it. And then we got into a few action scenes and I was like, yes, I'm living for it. And then we get to, I don't want to say it was sci-fi because it's not really sci-fi, but to one of the little twists. And remember when I mentioned how one of the characters will fall asleep and get a pebble? Well, it deals with that, but they don't really explain much of it in the book. And then this like big climax thing happens for like one chapter and then immediately after the next chapter is basically almost an epilogue. And it kind of turned me off from the book because I feel like they should have put more. I'm gonna just call it, it's not sci-fi. I don't know what to call it, but basically they should have put more of that type of thing in it. Because when I was reading it, it felt more of a mystery, thriller type. And then there was like, oh, this whole thing with this pebble and how is she getting it? And then it gets to like the end part. I don't know. I can't even get my thoughts in order, but yeah, it's a 3-star. I think if it didn't have that turn of events, I would have made it a 4-star book. But since that happened and it really didn't go into like more details or like more explanations, I didn't really care for it. But I did finish it, which is cool. So I'm probably gonna watch the live stream that Kayla and Gabby did. I'll probably link it below if you guys read the book and then want to hear somebody else talk about it. But yeah, so that's the end of this vlog, I guess. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.